Hello everyone, this is Eric Studebaker. I'm with Venture Out Nursery and we're here today in the greenhouse. It's mid-November and we're going to be talking today about plants that you can plant in your landscape and bring in for holiday decor, making arrangements and wreaths and other fun little things for the holidays. First thing we're doing is we're looking at a possible table setting, or this could be right outside the door, and it's made up of both natives and other ornamental plants. We have a plant in the middle that a lot of people are familiar with, but it's one of my favorite grasses, and it's called miscanthus. They turn a beautiful hay color going into the fall with yellow tones, and they have these beautiful flowers on them, and they really are fun for arrangements because the little ends of the leaves do little curlicues. This is an extremely drought-tolerant plant. It's also easy to grow, but it is deciduous, and by the end of the holidays, I usually cut it off at the ground, but it does make very nice arrangements. So this is an excellent plant for that. And we also have the Diane twisted larch in here, and this is just little cuttings that I brought in and stuck into the arrangement. And then we have a little native plant that's dropping its leaves. This is a little native deciduous huckleberry, and these grow wild on the island. They get these little red berries that are edible, and of course the birds seed them around all over the place. Here's another easy one that was set up this morning, and it's another miscanthus. These maidenhair grasses come in about 40 different varieties at least. There are different sized ones. Some of them get bigger than others, so you can pick one that's suitable for your needs. Easy, tough, hardy. And what we did is we put in a smoke bush called Grace, and this is its fall color. And then it has these dark twigs that'll look good against the miscanthus after it drops its leaves. And of course, at the bottom and the base, we have one of the most common plants you see on the island, western red cedar. Not hard to find these. You literally could just drive down the road after a windstorm and pick these babies up. This is a larch called Diane, and it's a twisted form. This is a conifer that drops its leaves, but it goes out with a bang. It turns a beautiful orange, yellow-orange color in the fall. And it has these great twigs which you can cut off and use in arrangements. And it's sort of an underused tree. When it leaves out in the spring, the foliage is elf green. It is absolutely amazing and just beautiful. They're pretty easy to grow. Usually the deer leave them alone. And as you can see, you could train this along, grow it sideways by holding it here with a stake, and then manipulate it, or you could do this. So Diane twisted larch. This is called beautyberry, and beautyberry is a beautiful deciduous shrub that ends up with these beautiful little purple berries. It's very unique. You don't see this all that often. This is a 6 to 7 foot rounded shrub, easy to grow, deer resistant, gets a beautiful purpley yellow fall color, and then you end up with these great berries which are fun for arrangements. This is a type of twig dogwood called midwinter fire. This particular dogwood has green leaves and turns the most beautiful yellow-orange in the fall. The fall color lasts 2 months on this plant. It is amazing. And then you're left with these yellow twigs at the bottom, and they run up into reds with some orange in between. Very nice for decorating. Another one we're going to do today is called a star magnolia. And this is that early blooming white flowers that look like stars. I think a lot of people are familiar with this. But what's neat about this plant is that it has these great winter buds that sit on here, and they're kind of furry, so they're really beautiful for wreath arrangements. Magnolias have great branch structure. They sort of waggle around and have, the older ones are really majestic looking. Another plant we're going to talk about today is a type of lavender, and it's a new lavender called Phenomenal. This one will hold its foliage better than your typical lavender, and of course the foliage is beautiful. It's a great kind of silvery gray color. Lavenders like to be in full sun. They're good coastal plants. Basically what I think is this is one of the best lavenders in history. I have never seen a lavender bloom longer than this one. This thing, you're going to start seeing a lot of this plant because it is very unique in how long it flowers, how cold hardy it is, and how beautiful the foliage is. Another great ornamental, which I enjoy a lot, is this is a native plant from our mountains called an Alaskan weeping cedar. And there are many forms of this plant out there. This particular one is a weeping Alaskan cedar called Vanden Acker. What's fun about these plants is the foliage basically weeps straight down off the plant, and if you cut a few branches, they have these great little yellow pollen sacs, and what they are is they're the male form of the plant that produces pollen later. But they also look great in arrangements, and if you can see why, you often see them in wreath arrangements. And speaking of our traditional wreaths, here we have a wreath that we've made up. Most of these branches were actually picked up on the side of the road. And you have Doug fir, you have western red cedar, and then we threw in a few of the plants that I talked about. We put some little curlicues from the larch and a little bit of twig dogwood in there and a little bit of the huckleberry. So these are really traditional and easy to do. We make these wreaths custom here at Venture Out Nursery, and we'll continue making them through the holidays. It's still a wonderful time to be out in the garden. I'm Eric Studebaker at Venture Out Nursery, and happy holidays.